So everything is
Yeah,
on point. Everything is on point, right?
yes, we are in live.
Okay. So whose screen is going to present? Mine or yours?
You have to share your screen.
Okay. Okay.
So make it full screen.
Just a second. I think we should start, right?
Right.
Very good evening to all. So, I welcome you on behalf of National Youth Council of India. My name is Himanshu Sharma, and working as a Vice President for the National Youth Council of India National Executive Committee. So, on behalf of whole NYCI, I welcome you all people on this NYCI Youth Dialogue, where today Miss Nilofer will join us for a woman empowerment topic. So she'll join in 2 minutes. So I request you all to please make sure that your mics are off and your cameras are also on off button. Okay. So let's wait for one minute, and after that we'll start with the session. Thank you. And yeah, one more request from the admin side that if anybody is having questions regarding the topic and if they want to ask something or they want to ask some from Miss Reshma Nilofer, okay, so they guys can put their message or the same thing in the chat head. So after the wind up the time, I'll start winding up the session and then we'll take the sufficient question which will make us the reasonable thing to take the call for some questions. So after that we'll take questions one by one, and after that I hope she will try to give and clarify all the queries. Thank you.
So, sorry for interrupting. Himanshu, actually, our guest have came to the session now. So you just
Okay.
invite her officially, so we can start the session.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Mukti. So, a very good evening, ma'am. So, officially, on behalf of National Youth Council of India, I welcome you onto the board and thank you so much for joining us today. And it is an honor for the National Youth Council of India that you are on board with us. So, I hope all participants will learn the few things which you have achieved in your successful career and very vibrant career. So I'll just introduce Dr. Muti. Dr. Dachinamurthy Ramo is the General Secretary of National Youth Council of India. So he is running this organization, and we guys are working in a very different scenario with at a ground level work. And he is working with many organizations also and doing a fantastic job. So I welcome Dr. Muti on board. So now I request so you can have a word for 2 or 3 minutes. Thank you.
So, very good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us in this very good evening with our chief guest, Reshma Nilofer ji. So, who is an first and only marine pilot of woman marine pilot of India, and also she's a recipient of Nari Shakti Puraskar from the Honorable President of India. And it's the highest civilian award in India, which have been given to the women who excel in the field of women empowerment. So hope this session will be very informative and very protective. So we have Nilofer ji here. So yeah, she's going to explain that how she have achieved these things and what are the hurdles she come through, and what are the things she wanted to convey, and what are the positive message she is going to say. And also, so let's have an interactive session, guys. So let's welcome Nilofer ji, and also I'm welcoming all the participants on behalf of NYCI and outside the NYCI. So it's very glad to welcome you all for this such a very good program. So the floor is on yours, guys. So take your session very well, and ask whatever you wanted to ask to Nilofer ji. She was openly waiting to help you, and openly she's ready to answer you in any kind of way. So use this session. So thank you for joining once again, and thank you for Himanshu for hosting these things. So Himanshu, so just introduce Nilofer ji to the
Yeah.
audience, and just proceed with the conference. Thank you, Himanshu. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Dr. Murthy. So, as Dr. Murthy told that I need to introduce Miss Nilofer ji, so it is an great honor for me. So, first of all, ma'am, welcome. I welcome you on behalf of NYCI to this first National Youth Dialogue by NYCI. So, there is a one more request to all the participants. Kindly make sure you put your mics on off and videos also on off, so that we can have a very clear conversation with Miss Reshma Nilofer ji. So again, welcome you. I am welcome you, ma'am. So Miss Reshma Nilofer ji is a marine pilot, first marine pilot of India, and currently she received an award from Honorable President of India, Mr. Ramnath Kovind sir. And it is the, as Dr. Murthy told, it is the highest civilian award for women. That is a Nari Shakti award in 2019 for this thing. And also she is doing a very great job, and marine pilot. She joined this thing in 2011 by beating 4,000 students by in a nation, you can say, in India. So after beating 4,000 students, or you can say the participants, she just came up with the 1% woman majority in this particular thing. So in 2011, she joined this, and after a very hard and rigorous training that gone for 7 years. So after 7 years, she joined in 2018 at Kolkata, and now she is currently working over there as a marine pilot and doing a very tremendous job. So I heartily welcome you, ma'am. It is a great honor for me also, and for all NYCINs, that today you are with us. So the stage is all yours, and after your this thing, we'll have a few questions from the participants. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, can you all
I'm
hear me?
yeah.
Yes, Nilofer.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Himanshu and Dr. Dakshinamurthy, thank you so much for the introduction and all the praise. It is a real honor to be here with the group, with all the youngsters of the nation who are raving to bring about a change in the country. So this is really an honor for me, and really nice to meet so many people joining in. So it's a very exciting thing, and I thank the National Youth Council office bearers for all the encouragement, the introduction, and for having me here in the first place. So it's a real honor to be here, and for all the participants, a very good evening to everybody. I'm really elated and honored, extremely happy to be here with you all, and especially happy to meet you all on the occasion of World Environment Day. And I've heard from Dr. Murthy that there was a mammoth effort of planting and adopting 1 lakh trees today on by all the members, a collective effort from all the National Youth Council members. So I appreciate all your effort, and it's a great job done. So for all those people who don't know me, I am Reshma Nilofer, working as a marine pilot with Kolkata Port Trust. I'll get started with my topic for the day, I think. Mr. Himanshu, is that all right? Mr. Dakshinamurthy?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So, about this advancing from women empowerment to gender equality, um, actually, we've had enough talks on women empowerment for coffee table discussions. I call it armchair empowerment. We have done this for decades now, and instead, for a change, let us, as a responsible population, start bringing gender equality to our houses, to the living room, to the dining room, and your bedroom of your houses. Actually, the topic was to advance from women empowerment to gender equality. But I'm of the strong opinion that we have empowered women in a nation only when we have an equally treated and respected women folk in the country. So, in the world, there are countries where women and girls are married off as kids, trafficked into forced labor, sex slavery, do not have a right to vote, refused access to education, and refused access to political participation, right to inherit, and many more. Crimes against women continue to be weapons of war, even in 2020. But as a nation, India India has made great strides with respect to women's rights. But as people, as a community of people, we still need a paradigm shift when it comes to our thoughts, our practices, and our opinions about the abilities of women. I will propose for all the participants to indulge with me in my thought process. I have a few points jotted down. So, um, we are all actually just a bunch of hypocrites when it comes to gender equality. This is the outright truth for y'all. We have for long portrayed women as pretty faces, objectified women, and we only do lip service about the physical and mental abilities of our women. Goddess Shakti and Rani Lakshmi Bai are all mere mentions today and are only to be worshipped for their valor and abilities. But ask yourselves, are we as families letting our daughters dream and chase that dream just like our sons? Do we let our sisters sit in the living rooms and let them in on our discussions just like our brothers do? Or do we say when the girl baby is just born, okay, my daughter will be a teacher or a doctor, and my son will be an engineer or an astronaut or a rocket scientist? So, we as parents, men and women, teachers, peers, mentors, and everyone else who influences a child need to first read and educate ourselves about a girl's ability, about her strength, physical and mental, her perseverance, tenacity, her valor, and compassion, which comes along with a lot of leadership skills. So, going to point number two, women like me are often labeled as aggressive, bossy, feminist, and demanding change like it were my right. So, to clarify, feminism is too often these days made to sound like it were synonymous with man hating and asking for special reservations or extra rights to get an edge over the other gender. Um, Only where there is a colossal inequality, special treatment is given to bring the sexes on par, not to give an edge over the other. So, men are still not invited to our change discussions, or men don't feel part of this gender sensitivity issue. I don't understand why. We need our men as our allies, our co workers, and our fellow passengers in our journey. I have had the support of many men in my life who have been my pillars of support, my teachers, seniors, mentors, and companions in my journey. And I attribute a lot of my success to them. So basically, feminism is the belief that men and women have socio, political, and economical equality, equal rights, and equal opportunities. Simple. And it is achieved by shared responsibility and commitment towards it from both the sexes. For long, we as a population have ignored the role of our men in the journey of a woman's life from a baby to an adult. I would like to invite you all, fathers, brothers, spouses, mates, and partners, to be feminist for us. I want you all men to be feminist for our cause. So, coming to my next point, um, when a woman demonstrates leadership skills, she is tagged as bossy. When a woman is assertive, she is tagged as aggressive. When a woman demands for her opinion or input to be taken seriously or for it to matter, she is an outrageous feminist. So we put tags. So the same isn't the case for a man doing the same thing and in the same qualities. Women are often shunned from leadership positions, stating appalling reasons like, oh, women have downtime. The time she needs to be paid despite being on maternity leave. That's called downtime these days. We need to understand that maternity is a natural phase most women undergo at a certain stage in their life. It is hence very unfair to not let her take that time out and unfair to not let her get back in action. She may choose not to come back or want a doubly challenging role after comeback. But that decision should be, must be entirely hers and hers alone. And she should be allowed to take her decision herself and not made to feel, or she mustn't feel guilty for taking whatever decision she did. We need, as a community, we need replacements for our fairy tales. You've all heard fairy tales, no? So we need replacements for our fairy tales which portray women as these fair and beautiful damsels in distress who need their knights in shining armor to come and rescue them. Uh, it's high time we put an end to that. We need women role models and pioneers. We need our women's opinions to be heard and heeded, paid heed to, and accounted for and valued. For that, our women must be empowered into roles of decision making and into leadership roles. We need, again, we need the men to champion this cause for us also. It's not that just the women will keep putting their hands up and say, okay, we need help, we will do this. No, we need the men to champion our cause. When women make a comeback, assist them in taking up more challenging roles. We need our men to come forward and accept those women who worked hard in life and achieved their goals. How many people have been looking at matrimony sites, matrimonial uh, records coming on the newspapers? You see, haven't we had enough matrimonial ads which call for the tall, fair, beautiful girls who are to stay at home after marriage? Come forward and accept those women who have a great resume for a change, who have tons of achievements written listed in their resume, and those women who are making a big difference wherever they are, making a mark in their workplace. You know, so this is for all of us to do and think about. And now coming the last point, coming to the women, the topic of highlight for today. This is for the women. See, the world puts women in a box more often than not. And the box is a box of their constrained and restricted expectations of each one of us. But I would like to confirm to you that no matter what the entire world tells you, if you think you can do something and if you want to achieve something and if you think you will do it, you can do it and you must do it. You can be rest assured that nothing is impossible. Even if the entire world comes and tells you you cannot do something and you decide to do it, you can still do it. Nothing is impossible. And the fruit of this hard work is very, very sweet. We often doubt our abilities and are terrible self critics. And I think if you will stop the self doubt and actually step out and try what you want to try, I think even the sky is not the limit. There are women training to go to Mars. What else could be impossible for women? And if you actually try, you will be surprised. Most of the time you will be surprised at what you can push yourself to do, how much you can push yourself. We often stop pushing ourselves and tell ourselves that, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that. So that's for the women. So, and to conclude, I will tell you an experience. So a lady captain, captain of a ship, a lady captain of a ship, she hails from Denmark. I met her about 5 years back. So she told me that she had to undergo the same skills as me when I started, and she had faced the same struggles when she started out 40 years before me. She was a very old lady, and we met in a conference, and she says, I have faced the entire all of this 40 years ago. So this came as a shock to me, because it was a realization that we are still in the same place where we were decades ago in a different country. So there is headway. In my life, I can tell you from my story, there has been a lot of headway because of my efforts, and I have received unbelievable recognition beyond my wildest dreams. When I was honored with the Nari Shakti Puraskar by the Honorable President of India, I had the fortune of meeting the Honorable Prime Minister of India, and recently, when I last met the shipping minister, Shri Mansukh Mandavia ji, he had declared me as Bharat Ki Lakshmi. I think you all must have heard of this Bharat Ki Lakshmi initiative, which was taken up by the PM. So I was named Bharat Ki Lakshmi when I met with our shipping minister. So this recognition which came, this actually puts me in a position of responsibility. Because of our fight for equality in the past decades, a lot of our women are trying their best, are making an effort, are making a change in each of their realms of specialization. So we now, because of all of these women's efforts, we now have a meager percentage of women achievers and pioneers who are lurking somewhere in the fringes. We still have a long way to go for achieving gender sensitivity and acceptance in our workplace, to be accepted in our positions of command and policy making. We want women in those roles. And slowly and steadily, Indian women are breaking the so-called glass ceiling. And now it is this glass ceiling, I don't know if uh, it's even existent anymore, because we have broken these glass ceilings into such small, we have shattered this glass ceiling, so to speak, and the glass pieces are all over the ground. There is no glass ceiling anymore. But we still need acceptance. We still face problems when it comes to gender sensitivity and why gender equality and what is feminism. There's a lot of street feminism going on, and feminism has become a sort of a bad tag to yourself. No, we want the men and women to come together and achieve this gender sensitivity and acceptance. And we also want a promoting the men and women coming together and promoting the women to take up positions of command, positions, leadership positions, and policy making. So they will in turn bring about more women in their fields. So the only way to achieve this is by increasing the participation of women workforce in a large scale. Of course, competence based. Not, I'm not saying just take in women as and when they come. No, you take competent women, and till that, till we achieve a notable presence of women in all realms of the society, where the women and girls can dream, dare to chase it, and then even the sky is not the limit for the women. So that's all from me about the ideas for how we will bring about gender equality in our country, specifically for the Indian scenario. And yeah, that's it from me, and I'm open to questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was so much energetic, and we are also receiving so much of messages on the same thing, that we should
Okay.
change this and this thing. We should change this and this thing. Very nice thoughts, ma'am. So, first of all, just I would like to go with a few questions, as I have researched on a few things. So, I found in some of your interviews where you said jokingly that I was so inspired by Titanic. Other was scared when they were watched the film. So, how So how was this thing that you were encouraged by the Titanic movie?
Uh, I landed up in this industry by pure chance. Uh, I was just looking for a different career path, something different from the rest, not to be in the very regular rat race with engineering and then going to an IT company and then sitting in front of a computer. I see it's a great career, but I knew that I wouldn't be happy in that career. So I was looking for something very different and challenging, adventurous. So when I was looking for a career like that, I just came across, I was fortunate to come across a newspaper ad. And the newspaper ad said it was a completely sponsored course, and comes with placement also. The company was sponsoring and hiring you as an employee right after you study. So after this, I had no second thoughts, because one is my parents are not burdened by the educational expenses, and the other one was career, immediate placement with the company, so no second thoughts. But when I was thinking about shipping as a career, the first thing which came to my mind was Titanic, because it was an obvious, very touching movie of those times. When I was a kid, that was the only exposure we had to ships as a whole. There were no ship movies like Captain Phillips came much later. You know,
Yeah.
Tom Hanks movie about the hijacking of the vessel. But before that, Titanic was the one famous movie which was about ships, and that was the only movie I had watched as a child. So and it left a big impact in most kids that time. So obviously, I immediately remembered Titanic, but after watching the movie, and then I was in class 12, and then internet had already come. So we had Google Baba to ask any question we have. So I went to Google, and I asked, I read up about Titanic and the impact which it had in the industry. So then I came to know that Titanic had brought about a lot of changes in shipping, and it brought about scores of thousands of safety regulations for the entire industry as a whole. So, and then I started reading about how safe ships were. In fact, their ships are safer than what you find on land, because these days, traffic and accidents and this and that, actually we are very safe on board. So when I had that feeling of you could be safe on a ship, and given the fact that I love challenges for myself, I had no second thoughts. Titanic was not a fear mongering movie.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. So now I request all the participants who all are having questions related to this particular topic. So they guys can unmute themselves and they can ask a question, ma'am, and after that they mute themselves again. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Ma'am, I'm 15 years old and I compose from Mohali. My question is, what is one tip you want to share with young Indians like me?
Okay. For young Indians, it's the same advice which I always say, that we need to make our country proud. So each of us has a role, and we need to accept that role and take it up. You can think that you're one in a million, and what big difference can one person make? But then, as a whole, we have to understand that many of us, many drops make an ocean. So you should be the best version of yourself. I always, this New Year resolutions thing, somehow I don't agree with that. Having a resolution for myself, what I do is, my resolution for New Year's remain the same every year. It's the same thing, that I want to be the best version of myself. And if I do something which my conscience says is right, I think you can never go wrong with that, and you should do your part as a young Indian. So I think you should never self doubt. Come out of this self doubt, which we often do. मेरे से ये हो पाएगा कि नहीं? Will I be able to do this? Is it a possible thing? I think that let's just get out, try it, and then decide whether we can do something or not. So that's my advice to young Indians.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
So I request the participants to just put their question in chat box and I'll take one by one. So ma'am, there is a question from Neha Soni, that what are your success habits?
Okay. So a lot of us have this habit of not having goals. So the first thing you need to do is, in life, have short-term goals and then have long-term goals. So when you don't have anything specific in mind, then you tend to be wasting your time a lot. So you must have short term goals and long term goals. I believe in setting goals for yourselves and working towards it really hard. And there is, when you are young, there is absolutely no time, nor reason, nor justification for being lazy. um, my parents used to say that, if you work hard when you're young, you can relax when you're older. So that is also a success story, a success habit that I keep in mind, that whatever negative things happen, whatever discouragements come your way, whatever hurdles you pass, you still keep your spirit high and you still keep doing what you do best, and you put in the best effort from your side. And then there's supreme beings who will take care of your hard work never goes unpaid. So these are my two success habits. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, so next question is, how can we defeat the unemployment in India?
Okay, that's a difficult one. So, see, I see that unemployment is I don't know if I'll be popular after saying this out loud, but I will still say that we often say that the country has to do this for me, the country has to do this for me. There's no employment in the country. I would say that why don't you have your own idea? Why don't you bring out a unique idea and be an entrepreneur? This 2020, 2019, 2020, this is the time, this is the period for a boom of sorts for entrepreneurs. And young people should be, you're raving with ideas, you're bubbling with energy, and this is the time entrepreneurs can make a mark. So don't look for employment. Just make your own. Make Why don't you become an employer and bring about change? Be an employer.
Okay, thank you. So next question is seems to be very interesting, and it's reliable on these things more. That what methods we have to adopt to change the perception of rural people towards women empowerment?
Okay, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
uh, I think groups like yours, like the National Youth Council, uh, and other similar groups can come together and have workshops or talks with and also make it interesting. Like I've as a kid I have been part of these dramatics and workshops on theater workshops and all these things. So somehow the pictorial and the dramatical media kinds, they reach these people, they reach any sort of educated, it can be old or young, it can be rural or urban. you know Print media se bhi zyada, much more than print media or anything else, dramatics, theater, these things reach rural. I think they will have a better impact on rural or urban. I mean, it's not specific to rural. I think it will reach better to people. So in which case, your kind of groups can take dramas, theater workshops, and with a message to the rural places, have workshops, have bring about the participation of the rural people, and then you can send across your message. Small efforts in different villages, it can make a big difference. And maybe someday we will achieve better understanding about women empowerment in our rural areas.
Okay, so next question is that I am a national karate player, and we have
Wow.
less participation from women. So how can we change the perspective of their parents? Because sometimes they are getting messages that they are restricting their girls. So it's a question from Milan Sharma.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this is a
Just a minute.
Am I still audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Am I back? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I think we in India we are still in a stage where parents are not very open to hearing it out from their kids. So maybe the parents who are open, like your parents allow you to go to karate classes, right? So maybe your parents can have a tete-a-tete or a tea party or something, and then your parents can talk to other parents, and then your kids can also maybe have a demonstration session or something in the complex, you're the karate champion, so you go out and have a demonstration for the complex people, for the other parents to watch, maybe in the evening, maybe in the morning, early morning, and then maybe you can inspire the other parents to send them across. So small efforts can be made. This is just an idea. You can think about many other ideas.
Okay, so we'll take last two questions, and both the questions are from your field only. So they might be
Oh, wow.
interesting to them and all of them also. So
Okay.
the question is from Dev Bharati Bhatta that, ma'am, why don't we put up women empowerment and gender equality seminars compulsory in all marine colleges? How to develop the thoughts of cadet to accept girls as their co-workers?
I know the girl who has asked the question, and hi, Devaprati. And yeah, so this we are, as the first few women in the industry, the first many women in this marine field, not just marine field, many other fields where women are still a very meager number, and women are minority in many fields, rocket science for that matter, space research, these kind of things. And then civil engineering, mechanical engineering, you will relate more to that. How many girls do you see in these fields? So yes, so girls who go into these fields where there's less male women participation, we do face a lot of acceptance issues. So yes, workshops will be helpful, and compulsory workshops would be great. So we are trying. We from the on behalf of IWSF, the International Women Seafarers Foundation, and then there is Women in Shipping, Women's International Shipping and Trading Associations, VISTA, and many others. We are all trying our best to get these workshops in place, and luckily, right now, the people in power, like the Directorate General of Shipping right now, Shri Amitabh ji, these people are very, very accepting, very, very open to our suggestions, and we are trying to get our point across. We have already given representation with all these, such workshops should be done, and maybe have safety campaigns, and acceptance, gender equality, gender sensitivity videos, and workshops across. We have already given our representation, and we are very, very hopeful that these things will be taken ahead. But that said, there's a lot of uh, pressure which lies on the person itself. Like Devabrati is doing a great job. So Devabrati would carry herself in a certain way so that her peers and her colleagues would respect her. It doesn't come overnight, but it takes time, I agree. But it is not impossible. You carry yourself in a particular way that brings about respect, and you earn the respect instead of demanding. Slowly your behavior and your competence and your abilities will develop. You will slowly develop and receive a respect of a certain kind from your peers. That happens with time. Of course, it does not happen overnight, but how you present yourself also earns you your respect.
Okay, so next question is from Divya Dilip, and I think she's an aspirant or a cadet for this thing. So
Okay.
I am a BTech Marine Engineering cadet, second year. So
Okay.
what all steps I have to do if I have to become a marine pilot like you, ma'am? Your story is inspiring. That's why I am asking this question.
So funny, she's asking me that question because marine engineers are not in the deck department. See, for the others who don't know, ships have two departments. There's one deck department and there's an engineering department. So pilots actually belong to the deck department. So it is difficult for the person in particular who's asked the question. For her to become a pilot, it would be impossible. Or you will have to go back and do a BSc Nautical Science, get into the deck department, because right now you are in the engineering department. You can become a chief engineer, and then you can, you after chief engineer ticket, sky is the limit. There's a lot of jobs, other jobs also. You can be a chief engineer, then you can become a surveyor, you can be you can, there's a lot of job opportunities even after chief engineer. But then if you particularly want to be a marine pilot only, then you will have to leave what you're doing right now. You will have to shift and do a BSc Nautical Science, get into the deck department, get your master's license, and then become a pilot.
Okay, thank you. So one very interesting question you can say from Jammu and Kashmir. So the question
Wow.
is asked the question is asked by Sanjay
Trust me,
Thakur.
I've never even been to the place. I've heard a lot about the beauty of the place, but really, I want to go sometime. Okay.
Oh, that's nice. So, what is your message to what is your message for Jammu and Kashmir girls?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that there is a lot of pressure on the Jammu and Kashmir youth in general to make a mark, and it's very difficult to stand out and achieve something from coming from that area, because it's an area which is so disturbed all the time, and there's I don't know how uh, you girls and boys and girls from this area even take your life. Everyday life is so risky, and I understand. I can feel what you all go through, but despite that, working hard seems to be the only avenue which we have in our country to make it big. So I want and I request the girls and boys of this coming from this region to really work as hard as possible. Come out, get your achievements in place, have your foundation done, and once you achieve something, please go back and serve your people and the youngsters. Go and motivate and get more people out and get them to achieve just like you would for yourself. So I think that would be my advice to the people there.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you. So I am just taking the last question for this session. So it was
Sure.
a though it was a very good and informative session. So I hope they have make out it at its best. So the question is, and I am asking this question and picking up this question because I have researched about yourself. You can say or some of your interviews. So that some of in your interview you mentioned that it was not easy for me to to be a in a house and cook for my husband and something like this. So the question is that how do we change this perception that kitchen and cooking are meant for only and only women, be it for a working or a non-working woman?
Okay. So this is the question which is having to be, which has to be put to the entire society, not just to Reshma Nilofer. It's so not fair to ask me alone, but I will still answer that because, okay, so the grown-ups, let's say the grown-ups who have sort of, become rigid with their habits and their perceptions and their assumptions, it is going to be very difficult to crack that shell. because they have gone into a hard shell and they're not going to listen to many of us. So that sort of rigid people, I really don't know how we will get our message across. We can try saying, we can try telling them, talking to them, having conversations, but I don't know how well they would take it. But then what we can do is, with our siblings and with our parents, we can question them, put them in a spot, and say that, well, why not do this together? Maybe make it sound like an interesting exercise, like it's a family outing sort of a thing. Okay, let's all come together and make this pizza today at home. Or maybe let's all join together. Let's all join mummy and do this, and get your siblings together. If you have a brother, if you have an older brother sibling, and if you have men in the house, in general, we can just go suggest, let's say there's papa in the house. You can go and tell dad, why don't we help mummy today in the kitchen, and let's give her a break, and I want you to help, I want to do this. Just if papa comes and helps you, and then eventually finds out that he enjoys cooking, you never know. So it's just the ideal situation. So we can try these things, bring about small changes, maybe suggest, maybe approach.
Okay, that's a very nice answer to this question. So I personally felt very honored, ma'am, that today we had an interaction with you, and especially I want to thank Dr. Dakshinamurthy Ramu, so who just took out this initiate, and we are just interacting with the first marine pilot woman in India. So now I request Dr. Murthy to just come on the board, and so just thank Reshma ma'am, and just wind up the session.
So first of all, yes.
May I have one question at the end before ending the session?
Yes, please go ahead. Last one.
Good evening, ma'am. I'm Vranda Joshi.
Good evening.
I have a question like, what and all problem you faced on board being a girl cadet, and like upcoming generation like us who are going on board, what and all we should do that we should not face the same thing. Like what should we
Okay.
take care?
Yeah, go ahead. Finish it.
Yeah, like what we should take care that we should not we should not get the tag of that feminism on board.
Huh. See, whether or not you're a feminist, you will still get the tag, so it doesn't matter. And who cares about what other people think? Finally, end of the day, it's just about what you do, and if you do it to the satisfaction of your conscience. So it's always, I only listen to my conscience. I don't listen to what everybody says, because it's the job of their mouth to do the talking. People
Yeah.
will keep talking. So you can't just get bothered about everything and anything everybody says. You don't have to respond to everything. Now, when you go on board, and most of the time when girls go on board, they're the only women on board the entire ship. And there are, say, 25 people, 25 guys, and then there's one woman. So now, yes, a lot of eyes will be on you. You will feel like you're under in a that big boss house. You will feel like you're inside a big boss house, and there are cameras all around you, and they're watching you all the time. So number one is to you may have already had the experience when you were in college, in the maritime college, because girls are still a very minuscule number in the colleges, but hopefully you learned some lessons there. But still, when you go on board, one thing is that you should never ever look for solace with the people on board. I would suggest you not to get to any personal relationships with anybody. Personal relationships, not as in dating somebody. I'm talking about general, even if it can be even a brother, sister, or a father figure. You can find somebody like a father figure, somebody like a brother figure. They will try to protect you, they will try to be nice to you, and some not so nice to you. But I would say that you will keep your distance. You draw a line where you think that okay, above this it doesn't feel right, and below this it could be a little too less friendly. So draw a line between friendship and professional relations, and never get past that with anybody on board while you're still on board. Maybe you like somebody, you want to marry somebody, okay, no questions, but have all those relationships carried forward to the time you spend at home. Because when you're on board, you don't want to get past a certain limit. You draw a line, and you know when to draw a line. And when somebody, say, a lot of people try to check your limits, the when a lot of men are around you and they
मीटिंग
want
चल
to
रही है, मैं तुझे
see,
थोड़ी छोड़ दूंगा बीच में, वहां रुक जा, खत्म होने वाली है।
hello, please mute your mic. So a lot of times you will have to set your limits as to what is okay and comfortable for you and what is not. Let's say somebody cracks a joke which is not in good light for women, and you don't like it. You can tell them, you can be straightforward, not in public maybe, and you can just tell them, hey, I heard you saying so and so thing. Can you not crack past these kind of comments when I'm there? I don't care when I'm not here. You can go ahead with your whatever, but I don't feel comfortable with this sort of conversations. So please keep me out of this. Or you can remove yourself from that place if you can. So that is another thing you can do. I have made mistakes in all these. The drawing the line thing. A lot of us make a mistake. We sometimes keep quiet when we don't like a conversation, and then it goes on and it becomes worse. So drawing a line becomes very important. This can be even applicable for women who are working in offices where there are a lot of women, lot of men, and they cannot tolerate some maybe somebody is cracking a joke and it shows women in bad light, poor light. So you don't like it. You just have to be vocal. You just have to tell them that okay, this is not okay for me, and never take um, never go to people with your personal problems. You must have your own set of fallback system and your own set of friends and supporters and peers at home, whom there's a lot of internet connection and everything now on board the ships. So you can always consult with your friends, and we are there, we seniors are there for any help, any time of the day, any day of the year. So you can always consult with your seniors, the women seniors, instead of going to the male seniors and asking for personal advice. If you have any trouble, you can always contact us. We're all there for y'all. So, maybe we have been in that position, that kind of a situation before you, and maybe you don't have to repeat those mistakes which we did. So you can always ask if you don't know what to do at some situation.
Okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am, for saying the wonderful, we got a clear picture that what we should do after going on board.
Sure. Yeah, anytime.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, Dakshinamurthy sir, you're on.
So, so it's a very good session, basically. So hope you guys had a very good, knowledgeable things from Reshma ji. So,
Sir, I really hope that they all, understood and agreed with what I said. And, if there's disagreements, I'm open to comments from them also. I'm really looking forward to hearing the feedback.
definitely. So even we are looking for the analyzing these people's questions and your answers and all the feedbacks. So I think there will be no any negotiations on this. So whatever you said, I felt like you just spoke with your heart from rather from your mind or anything. So that is what I thought. So all the words are from your heart. So I felt very happy that to have you in a beautiful session and for NYCI, and I'm really wanted to thank Dr. Amar Prasad Reddy for inviting you, and also I wanted to thank you for giving your time for us. So and making your arrangements and like having an unofficial leave to address these people. So that is the best thing. So which I have been in this organization. So very good, and we had a very good session. So hope all the people they have been clarified with their questions. So possibly we might have strict with timings, and also we couldn't take much questions. So we'll improve those steps in. Next session, so with a different guest. So once again, I want to thank you, Reshma Nilofer, for having you here, and so making
The
your
pleasure
presence
is
here.
all mine, sir. Pleasure is all mine. Thank you, and thank you NYCI for having me. And I have to thank Amar Prasad sir for introducing me to you. I was not even aware of council, and now I'm really inspired by the work you all do. And
So,
great job done by all your members.
so basically, he felt like we have a lot of women's leader from India, so as we discussed yesterday.
Photo
So we felt like we should have
Take a
50%
photo.
of women leaders in our ministry. So we are making it also. So that's why I wanted
Wow.
to bring an energetic woman to speak with these things. Only so that's have been happened here. So once again, thank you for being here, and also thank you for Himanshu for moderating a beautiful session. So well maintained manner, and of course I want to thank the participants and the audience. So without your presence, this webinar or a seminar or anything, so it's not going to be happen. So I'm very happy that you guys are very patient and listening and interacting with your guest for the today youth dialogue. So hope we'll meet with different guests and different timings and different subjects in future. So stay tuned, and thank you once again all of you, and thank you. So we are officially wind up in this youth dialogue for today. So for next dialogue, so we'll be letting you know with the new guest and new people. So thank you guys, thank you, Neil.
Thank you for having me, and it was a great session for me also.
Thank you, Neil. So people can leave the session. Thank you for being here. So